All right, looking at Eave details, I've got a very simple roof situation here. Just going to talk about ways that we can get our building to the next level. So here I have a series of fills. These are just 2D fills. Let me shift this over. You can see that I've used building material fills right here to draft those. So I'm going to select those fills. That's what I want my soffit and my eave to look like. It could look like anything. You could have the soffit sloping with the roof. It could be somewhere in between. You could add a ram's crown or cove molding or whatever you need in that detail. Try to make it reasonably simple. If you start adding flashing and stuff, it adds more detail than you need. So let's copy this stuff right here, or even cut it, Command X. Now if I go up to Options, Complex Profiles, Profile Manager, in here I'm going to go New Profile, and I'm just going to dump this in here and call it Fascia and Soffit. Say OK there. This window right here is just a duplicate of whatever the last profile was. I'm going to grab all of that and I am going to delete that. Center of current view. Let's go back to that section because I do actually want to also be able to draw this in relatively quickly. So what I'm going to do here actually is I'll take a hotspot. Just realizing that my whole work environment's cropped off here. Take a hotspot and I'm going to drop that in at the top of the stud right here. That's where it's going to line up. So now if I grab all this stuff and cut it, including that hotspot, let's get rid of these fills. Let's go back into here, grab all of this stuff. I'm actually going to paste it back in to include that hotspot. So the hotspot right there is where I want that reference line. So that's going to start right there at the 0, 0 point, and we'll say OK. And I want this to be applied to a beam, so I'll say save. And that's fine. OK. You can apply modifiers and stuff if you really needed them to be more flexible. Here I'm going to say that these elements are finished. You know, override the pens and building, pens and surfaces and everything else once it's in here. But then we'll just say save. Okay. Coming it back into 3D here. Let me just grab all my walls and we'll say F4. Let's see here. What do we have? Oh, actually, it's probably in the wall settings. Yeah. So we'll just undo that. So now I can see the top plate right there. That's where I set my hotspot. So now when I grab my beam tool, I'm going to go here and then I'm going to set it to a custom profile using the fascia and soffit profile that I just made. So if I click here, you can see that it's down below, but that's actually the way I want it to snap. Right, so we'll pull this around and just so you're not watching me draft for, whoops, got off there. Oh, here's another tip. If you click in the wrong spot, don't hit escape, hit delete. That'll undo the last placed node. So you're not starting over from scratch. That's just a little quick tip bonus here. All right, so now finish that out. There's my fascia, my soffit, all of that. All right, so if I grab all of this and under the segment settings, we'll just undo the surface override. So now you can see those surfaces are by building material the way I want. Coming back into the section now. Oh, it looks like maybe I'm out of ortho there. Let's double check this. So we're on the face of stud there. This is where it becomes very critical and tedious to model as precisely as possible so you don't end up with these sorts of inaccuracies. There's the corner right there. It's snapped to the wrong spot, so now I'm going to go right there and click on that point. Double check this one. That one's correct. Okay, so now if I look at the section, now I can see that this beam is in the correct spot. I can use my solid element operations. This is just basic section cleanup stuff here. I can say that this is my operator. I can say that this is my target. I'm going to do a subtraction with upward extrusion and execute. So now I see my sheathing come all the way up, but my siding layer stops right there. If this had been up here, let's just say I shift that up, that intersection right there, so you can see shifting that up, no problem at all. If I want to shift this up for the entire project, what I can do, so it's about an inch up, let's go to edit this, and we'll grab this stuff and drag it up 1 inch. And then when we close and save, it's going to move for the entire project. Now I can do this, and I can say that this is the target, this is the operator, subtraction with downward extrusion, execute, and now I can see that my rafter tail clips to that soffit. The nice thing about these complex profiles is it does give you a global point of control. So let's say that we wanted to show a 1 inch soffit vent here, right? So I'm gonna clip that, I'm gonna pull this over 1 inch. I'm gonna take this building material right here, and we'll just mock in a soffit vent. So there's one, and I can say that we're gonna have 5 fills from there to there. Right, so now I get my soffit vent. I maybe don't want to see up into there, so I'll put a cap on it just to clean it up in section. So now I have a soffit vent in there. Now I can say save and close. You can see that populates right there in the model. For things like top plates and stuff, there are, for your building sections, under the ArchiCAD library, object library, general, detailer library, and then in here it's under wood frame, right? So there's wood frame objects. You can set the pens to whatever you need. There's single and double. There are continuous blocking and finish. So if I said continuous here, we'll go ahead and say okay here, right? And I use these to add detail to my sections rather than trying to model all of the top plates and bottom plates and sill plates where they might run through doors. I don't need to model the framing. The reality is if I get one wall done, let me go here. I can go to my arrow tool, the crossing window option right here, so that when I cross left to right, now I get just those plates. Makes it really quick and easy to drag and copy those around. Let's talk about the ceiling for a quick second. So on the ceiling in something like this, typically what I do if there are no exposed rafter tails, I just model the top chord and the bottom chord of the truss with a roof and a slab, or if it's a vaulted scissor truss kind of situation, the ceiling gets modeled with the roof as well. But let's just, for simplicity's sake, look at using a slab. If I come into my slab settings for composite, and let's go here, I've got a 2x6 ceiling. It'd probably be a 2x4. And in the slab settings, I can set that slab so that the bottom of core is the reference plane. And that way, if my plate height is, let's say, pre-cut studs, 9 foot 1 1/8. Now when I draw this slab in, I can hold down space and magic wand that reference line. Now I've got my ceiling. Come back in here. Looks like actually this was probably from a template that used a taller ceiling. We could pull that up to here, that's fine. But these building materials, because that gypboard here and this gypboard here are the same, that's gonna clean up automatically. If I wanna clean up the slab to the roof, I can select those, right click, connect, and merge. If those building materials are the same, it's gonna find the connection there. Here in this case, if I really wanted to get into the details, I could clean that up, but if you look at 1/4 inch scale, the line weight's gonna kind of hide a lot of that stuff, so you can kind of forgive yourself on some of that. But if you really wanted to get into it, you could say that the roof is the target, the wall is the operator, do a subtraction with no extrusion, then you see that plywood run all the way up. Or you could do it the other way, you could trim the plywood to the roof, whatever needed to happen there. Okay, so that is a basic roof and wall connection. Let's look at this in 3D one more time. I do want to point one thing out. Let's just say, for example, on this roof edge right here, if I click right here and say that that roof edge is a gable, right? So obviously I don't have the soffit running across here anymore. This is where it might not make sense to model the soffit, fascia, everything as one element. If I pull this out to here, I get that fascia board to there. Obviously I could set another beam and get that to match up. But then I also have this sort of piece to infill here. I've got my gable end to infill. So it might make sense to model any kind of band trim with a separate beam, soffit with a slab, fascia with a beam, The gutter actually has a collection of objects. If you go to the object tool under plumbing, piping, and gutters, there are these gutters and downspouts. Actually, this gutter 27 is a great object that has hangers, it has downspout holes, it has end caps. You can even have a wraparound gutter similar to what we have there. I'm not such a fan of the mitered gutter. You got to kind of piece it together anyway, so I just put a simple gutter 27 in there. It does give custom profile options as well as standard sizes for half rounds, K-style, and box gutters. Anyway, those are some tips on your roof and wall connections. I'll try and do a video on how to trim out a gable end maybe later today.